The rain was merciless that night. Cold, heavy, endless. Cars rushed past, splashing dirty water onto the sidewalk. Neon lights flickered above half-closed shops. People hurried home, hiding beneath umbrellas, coats pulled tight. But in the middle of that storm, one man didn't move. He sat alone, in a wheelchair, soaked from head to toe. His fingers rested lifelessly on his lap, his head tilted slightly forward. Rainwater dripped from his hair, down his face, onto the cardboard sign hanging from the front of his chair. "I can't move. Please help." Some people dropped coins. Some whispered, "Poor guy." Some looked away. One man laughed. "Why sit in the rain? Move somewhere else." The man didn't respond. He didn't even blink, because to everyone, he was paralyzed, helpless, forgotten. Then, a black woman stopped. She looked at him for a long moment. Not with pity, not with suspicion, just concern. She slowly removed her jacket, stepped closer, and gently placed it over his shoulders. "You'll freeze like this," she whispered softly. The man didn't move, but beneath the blanket, his fingers twitched, barely, almost invisible. Across the street, 3 men in black suits suddenly straightened. One of them spoke quietly into his earpiece. She touched him. Silence. Then a voice answered. "Don't interfere." The suited men lowered their heads, because the man sitting helplessly in the rain wasn't a beggar. He wasn't paralyzed, and he definitely wasn't weak. He was the most dangerous Korean Mafia boss in the city. And the woman who covered him had just become the only person who treated him like a human being. Her name was Maya Carter, and she wasn't rich, she wasn't powerful, and she definitely wasn't someone the city noticed. She worked at a small roadside cafe near the train station. The place was cramped, noisy, and always smelled like burnt coffee. Customers were impatient, tips were rare, shifts were long. But Maya never complained, because she had lived through worse. She grew up in foster homes, some kind, some cruel, most temporary. By the time she turned 18, she learned one thing clearly. No one was coming to save her. So, she saved herself. She moved to the city with 2 suitcases, a small savings account, and quiet determination. She worked mornings, evenings, sometimes nights. She ate cheap food, sent money to her younger cousin, and dreamed of opening her own cafe someday. A small one, warm, kind, a place where no one felt invisible. That night, she had just finished her shift. Her feet ached. Her shoulders were sore. Her boss had yelled at her twice. One customer refused to pay. Another spilled coffee on her apron. Still, she smiled, because she believed kindness mattered. Then she saw him, under the streetlight, the man in the wheelchair. At first, she thought he was sleeping, but as she stepped closer, she noticed his lips trembling slightly. His skin looked pale. His hands were stiff. He wasn't sleeping. He was freezing. She checked her wallet. Only a few bills, enough for tomorrow's lunch. She looked at him again. Then quietly, she put the wallet back. Money wouldn't warm him, so she gave him her jacket instead. She adjusted it gently around his shoulders. "It's cold tonight," she said softly. No response. She pulled out a small plastic container from her bag. "I left over rice and chicken." She placed it carefully on his lap. "You should eat," she whispered. Still nothing, but she smiled anyway. "I'll come tomorrow." Then she walked away. She didn't know. 3 black SUVs followed her from a distance. His name was Kang Min Jae, and nothing about him was ordinary. He wasn't just wealthy, he wasn't just influential. He controlled entire districts of the city, nightclubs, shipping companies, real estate, logistics, private security firms, and beneath all of it, the silent empire, illegal casinos, smuggling routes, debt networks, power, absolute power. People called him the Korean ghost, because he appeared and disappeared without warning. But for the past week, he had been sitting in that wheelchair, in the rain, in silence, watching, observing, testing. His men didn't understand. Chairman, this is dangerous. You shouldn't be exposed. Let us handle. He raised one finger. They stopped speaking. I want to see them, he said calmly. Who? People. And so he sat there, day after day, watching who ignored him, who mocked him, who helped him. Most walked past. Some threw coins. A few insulted him. But only one covered him. The moment Maya walked away, Min Jae's eyes slowly opened. Cold, sharp, alive. Follow her, he said quietly. Yes, Chairman. The next morning, Maya returned. She held a cup of coffee. Good morning, she said softly. She placed the cup carefully near his hands. I made this myself. No response. She smiled. I hope you like sugar. Two men nearby laughed. You talk to him like he understands. He's probably pretending. Yeah, street beggars earn more than us. Maya ignored them. She adjusted the blanket. He must be cold. One of the men walked closer. Watch this. He waved his hand in front of Min Jae's face. Nothing. See? Dead. He flicked the coffee cup. Hot liquid spilled onto Min Jae's pants. Maya gasped. Hey, what are you doing? The man shrugged. He can't feel it. Maya grabbed tissues, carefully wiped the coffee. Her movements were gentle, careful, respectful. Min Jae's fingers tightened slightly. The suited men across the street noticed immediately. Chairman reacted. Yes. Should we? No. Min Jae remained still, but inside, something unfamiliar moved. It rained again, harder. Wind pushed water sideways. Umbrellas flipped. People ran. Maya arrived late. She saw him soaked. Her expression changed instantly. You're going to get sick. She opened her umbrella, held it above him. And the wind was strong. Rain still hit his shoulders. So she stepped closer, covered him with her body, letting herself get drenched. Cars slowed. People stared. Why was she doing this? For a stranger? For a beggar? Minutes passed. She laughed softly. I don't even know your name. Silence. I'll call you Rain. Min Jae's fingers moved again, just slightly. Across the street, one guard whispered. She named him. Another replied quietly. Chairman is smiling. By the fourth day, something strange happened. Street vendors started greeting Maya. Still helping him? She nodded. Some customers left food. A homeless man shared bread. Kindness spreads quietly, but not everyone liked it. The cafe manager saw her. You feeding that guy again? Yes. Use your own money. I am. Don't bring charity here. She stayed silent. He frowned. You do it again. You're fired. That evening, she still brought food, because some people choose kindness, even when it costs them. That night, Min Jae finally spoke, quietly, so only his closest guard heard. She lost her job? Yes, Chairman. Because of me? Yes. Silence. Rain fell harder. Min Jae's eyes followed Maya walking away. Prepare something. Yes. But no one knew what he meant. The next evening, Maya still came, but this time, her hands were empty. No food, no coffee, no umbrella, just her. Her clothes were slightly wrinkled like she hadn't slept properly. Her eyes looked tired, but she still forced a smile when she reached him. Hi. Rain. She sat beside him. I got fired today. Her voice was calm, but soft. I knew it would happen, but I still did it. She looked at him. You know, I don't regret it. The rain hadn't started yet, but the sky was heavy with dark clouds. I think helping someone is never wrong, even if it costs you. Min Jae didn't move, but his breathing slowed. She leaned back against the wall behind him. I don't know what I'll do tomorrow. Rent is due. I only have enough for 2 days. She laughed quietly. But it's okay. She turned to him again. You're still here, so I'm not completely alone. Across the street, the black SUVs remained parked. One guard whispered into the phone. She told him everything. Another replied, Chairman hasn't blinked in 2 minutes. After a few minutes, Maya stood. I'll come again tomorrow. She turned to leave, then stopped. Wait. She leaned forward. Did your hand move? She stared carefully. Nothing. She shook her head. Maybe I'm imagining things. She smiled. See you tomorrow, Rain. She walked away. The moment she disappeared, Min Jae's fingers slowly curled. His head lifted slightly. His voice came out low. Find her. Yes, Chairman. Maya returned to her tiny apartment. The room was barely big enough for a bed and small table. The ceiling fan made a clicking noise. The paint on the walls was peeling. She opened her fridge. Empty. She sighed. Then she poured water into a cup and sat quietly. She wasn't crying. She rarely cried. She just stared at the wall, thinking. After a few minutes, she whispered, I'll be okay. Then she lay down, without dinner. Across the street, a black car stopped. A man stepped out quietly. He left a grocery bag outside her door. Milk, bread, eggs, rice, no note, no name, just help. And the guard spoke softly into his earpiece. It's done. Min Jae's voice answered. Don't let her see you. Maya opened her door. She froze. The grocery bag sat there. She looked around. No one. She picked it up slowly, confused. Did the landlord leave this? No answer. She smiled slightly. Thank you. She didn't know. 3 men in suits were watching from inside a parked van. Maya arrived again, this time holding food. Good morning, Rain. She placed the container on his lap. You won't believe this. Someone left groceries outside my door. She laughed softly. Maybe the world isn't that bad after all. Min Jae's eyes, behind closed lids, softened. She fed him small bites, carefully, slowly. Passers-by stared. Some whispered. One woman shook her head. Why waste food on him? Maya ignored them. I'm here. Small bite. She wiped his mouth gently. Min Jae's fingers twitched again. That afternoon, a luxury car stopped nearby. 3 rich-looking young men stepped out. Designer clothes, arrogant smiles. One of them pointed. Look at that. She feeding him. They walked closer. Hey, you his nurse? Maya stayed calm. No. Then why help him? Because he needs help. The men laughed. He's probably faking. Another said, let's test. He kicked the wheelchair lightly. Min Jae didn't move. They laughed louder. See? Dead weight. Maya stepped forward. Stop it. The tallest one smirked. Or what? He leaned closer to Min Jae, then slapped his cheek lightly. Wake up. Maya grabbed his hand. Don't touch him. The man looked at her. You care a lot? Is he your boyfriend? His friends laughed. He pushed her shoulder. I move. She stumbled slightly. Across the street. The guards tensed. Chairman? Silence. Min Jae's voice came quietly. Wait. The arrogant man grabbed the food container. Let's see if he reacts. He dumped the food on the ground. Rice scattered into dirty water. Maya froze. Her eyes widened. Why would you do that? He shrugged. Because I can. The second man laughed. Feed him from the ground now. Maya knelt. She began picking up what she could. Carefully, quietly. People watched. Some uncomfortable, some amused. Min Jae's fingers clenched. For the first time, anger burned behind his still expression. The man kicked the container away again. Oops. Maya's hands trembled slightly. But she didn't yell. She just whispered, It's okay. I'll bring more tomorrow. That sentence, broke something inside Min-jae. And the men finally walked away, laughing. Maya cleaned the area. She wiped Min-jae's pants. "I'm sorry. You didn't even get to eat." She smiled weakly. "I'll bring better food tomorrow." She left quietly. The moment she turned the corner, Min-jae opened his eyes. Cold. Terrifying. "Bring them!" 3 black SUVs moved instantly. The guards followed the arrogant men. 5 minutes later, the 3 men were dragged into an empty alley. They struggled. "Who are you?" A guard answered calmly. "You touched someone you shouldn't." Their faces turned pale. Min-jae's car arrived. He stepped out, standing, perfectly. No wheelchair, no weakness. The men froze. You... Min-jae's voice was calm. "You slapped me." Silence. "You pushed her." They began shaking. "We didn't know." "I know." He turned to the guard. Break their arrogance." The guards moved. Not brutal, not excessive, but enough. Within seconds, the men collapsed, crying. Min-jae looked down at them. "Next time, respect kindness." He turned. "Drop them at a hospital." "Yes, Chairman." The next day, Maya returned with fresh food. "You missed dinner yesterday." She smiled. "I made soup today." She fed him slowly. "You know, those guys didn't come back." She laughed softly. "Maybe they felt bad." Min-jae remained silent, but inside, something warm spread. No one had ever defended him like she did. Not for power, not for money, just kindness. Clouds gathered again. Thunder echoed. Maya looked up. "Rain again." She opened her umbrella, held it over him. Wind pushed hard. She stepped closer. Her shoulder touched his. "You really like rain, huh?" Min-jae's fingers moved. She froze. You moved again." Silence. She leaned closer. "Can you hear me?" For a moment, it felt like he might answer, but he didn't. She smiled. "It's okay. I'll keep talking." Across the street, a guard whispered, "Chairman almost spoke." Another replied, "Days! Losing control!" Inside one of the SUVs, a phone rang. "Chairman, rival group spotted." Min-jae's expression didn't change. "They're watching you." "Let them. They might attack." Min-jae looked at Maya, still holding the umbrella. "Not here." Because for the first time, the most feared Mafia boss in the city didn't want violence near her. The rain started earlier than usual that evening. Dark clouds rolled over the city, swallowing the last traces of sunlight. Thunder cracked loudly, and people rushed to get home before the storm worsened. But Maya still walked toward the same corner. Same streetlight, same wheelchair, same man. She held a paper bag carefully under her arm. "I brought noodles today," she said softly as she arrived. "They're still warm." She crouched in front of him and gently opened the container. Steam rose into the cold air. "You know, I think you like noodles." She smiled and lifted a small bite toward his mouth. Just as she did, lightning flashed, and for a brief second, she saw something strange. His eyes. They weren't empty. They weren't dull. They were sharp, watching, alive. She froze. "You..." But the moment passed. His expression returned to stillness. She shook her head. "I must be tired." She continued feeding him. But across the street, 3 black SUVs turned their engines on, because they saw something else. Then 3 unfamiliar vehicles slowly pulling up. Dark tinted windows, no license plates. The guards inside stiffened. "Chairman." Min-jae didn't move, but his fingers tightened slightly. The cars stopped. 4 men stepped out, heavy jackets, cold expressions. They weren't locals. One of Min-jae's guards whispered, "Rival group." Another responded. They finally moved. The men walked toward the corner, toward Maya, toward the wheelchair. Maya noticed them too. She felt uneasy. They stopped right in front of her. One of them spoke. "You help him every day?" Maya nodded slowly. Yes. The man smirked. Why? Because he needs help. The man looked at the wheelchair. He doesn't look important. His partner laughed. Just a useless cripple. Maya's expression changed. Don't call him that. The first man leaned closer. Are you protecting him? Yes. He smiled coldly. Then move aside. She didn't. I won't. Across the street, the guards gripped their weapons. Chairman? Min-jae's voice came quietly. Wait. The man grabbed the wheelchair handle. We're taking him. Maya stepped forward immediately. No. He looked at her. You don't understand. I said no. He pushed her aside. She stumbled, but grabbed the chair again. Leave him alone. The second man stepped closer. Girl, this isn't your problem. She shook her head. Yes, it is. Rain began pouring harder. Wind howled. People nearby backed away. No one interfered. The man pulled the wheelchair. Maya held it tighter. Stop! He shoved her. She fell to the ground. Her hands scraped against concrete. Blood mixed with rainwater. Min-jae's fingers clenched hard. For the first time, his jaw tightened. And Maya quickly stood again. She moved in front of the wheelchair, shielding him with her body. You'll have to move me first. The men exchanged looks, annoyed. The tallest one sighed. This is getting annoying. He raised his hand, as if to push her again. And that's when Min-jae spoke. Don't touch her. The voice was calm, low, cold. Everyone froze. Maya's eyes widened. She slowly turned. You spoke? The rival men stared. What? Min-jae slowly lifted his head. Rain ran down his face. His eyes opened. Sharp. Terrifying. Completely different from before. The men stepped back instinctively. You're not... Min-jae looked at them. You're late. The guards across the street moved instantly. Doors opened. Men in suits stepped out. The rival group realized. Too late. Maya stepped back slowly. Confusion filled her face. You can talk? Min-jae looked at her briefly. Yes. Her voice trembled. You're not paralyzed? He didn't answer. Instead, he placed his feet on the ground and stood, slowly, calmly, effortlessly. Maya's mouth opened. She couldn't speak. The rival men backed away. Kang Min-jae! One of them whispered the name. Fear spread instantly. They knew. Everyone in the underground world knew. The Korean ghost, the silent boss, the man no one wanted to cross. Min-jae stepped forward, rain dripping from his hair. You tried to take me. Silence. The men didn't answer, because they couldn't. His presence alone crushed them. Within seconds, Min-jae's men surrounded the area. Perfect formation. Controlled. Silent. People nearby began recording. Some whispered. Hess, what's happening? Who is he? Why are they bowing? Because every guard lowered his head. Chairman. Maya looked at them, then at him, then back. Chairman? Min-jae didn't look away from the rivals. You chose the wrong place. One of the rivals tried to speak. We didn't know. Min-jae raised his hand. Silence. You pushed her. His tone remained calm, but deadly. No one pushes her. The guards moved. The rival men were restrained instantly. No chaos, no shouting, just controlled dominance. Maya stepped backward, her heart racing. You were pretending? All this time? Min-jae turned to her slowly. Yes. Her voice cracked. Why? He looked at the rain. I was waiting. For what? He met her eyes. For someone who didn't walk away. She couldn't process it. You're not homeless. No. You're not helpless. No. You lied to me. Silence. For the first time, Min-jae looked uncertain. I observed. Her eyes filled with confusion. You watched me struggle, lose my job, and you said nothing? He didn't answer immediately, because she was right, and for someone like him, being wrong was unfamiliar. Suddenly, one rival broke free. He pulled a knife, lunged toward Minjae. Maya reacted instantly. "Watch out!" She pushed Minjae sideways. The knife missed. Guards tackled the attacker immediately. Chaos lasted only seconds, but Maya's breathing became heavy. "You could have been hurt." Minjae looked at her. "You pushed me." She nodded. "Of course." He stared at her. "You didn't know who I was." "I didn't need to." That sentence hit him harder than any weapon. The rain slowed, and the rivals were taken away. The street returned to silence. Maya stood there, still confused. "So, what happens now?" Minjae looked at the wheelchair. "I don't need it anymore." She gave a small laugh. "I figured." He looked at her carefully. "You're bleeding." She glanced at her hand. "Oh, it's nothing." He gestured. A guard stepped forward with a clean cloth. Minjae took it himself and gently wrapped her hand. Maya froze. The most feared man in the city, treating her wound. Carefully, softly. "You shouldn't get hurt. Because of me." She smiled faintly. "You got hurt too, sitting in the rain." He didn't respond, because for the first time, someone compared his pain to theirs. She asked quietly, "Who are you? Really?" He paused. The guards remained silent. The city noise faded, and then he answered, "My name is Kang Min-jae." She repeated softly, "Kang Min-jae." Nearby, one man whispered to another, "That name, isn't he—" Fear spread quietly, because everyone had heard the rumors, and Maya was standing right in front of him. The man she covered in the rain was the most powerful Mafia boss in the city, and she had no idea. Her life was about to change forever. "My name is Kang Min-jae." The rain softened into a quiet drizzle as his words settled in the air. Maya repeated it slowly, trying to understand why the guards bowed, why the rival men looked terrified, why the street suddenly felt different. "Kang Min-jae." A man standing nearby whispered to his friend, panic in his voice. "That's him! The Korean ghost!" Another person stepped back. I heard he controls the port." "And half the city?" Maya looked around, confused. People were backing away from him, not because he was dangerous in appearance, but because they knew something she didn't. She turned back to him. "What does that mean?" Min-jae didn't answer immediately. Instead, he removed the wet blanket from his shoulders and handed it to one of his guards. His posture straightened. The quiet, broken man from the wheelchair was gone. What remained was power. "Everything you saw was intentional," he said calmly. Her chest tightened. "You pretended to be paralyzed?" "Yes." "You sat in the rain for days?" "Yes." "Why?" He looked at her. "To see who stops." Silence filled the space between them. Her voice softened. "And I stopped." "Yes." Something in her expression shifted. Not anger, not fear, just disbelief. You watched me lose my job?" "Yes." "You watched them insult you?" "Yes." "You watched them push me?" Min-jae's eyes darkened. "And that is when I stopped watching." A black umbrella appeared above them. One of the guards held it, shielding both Maya and Min-jae from the remaining rain. The street had grown quiet. People moved away, pretending not to look. No one wanted to be near a Mafia boss. But Maya didn't move. She was still trying to understand. "You're dangerous?" he answered honestly. "Yes." She took a breath. "But you didn't hurt anyone when they mocked you. I wanted to see." "What? Who shows kindness when there's nothing to gain?" Her eyes softened. "And you found me?" "Yes." He paused, then added quietly, "You were the only one." They stood under the streetlight, the same place where he had sat helplessly. But now everything felt different. Maya spoke softly. "So, what happens now?" Min-jae looked around. "I leave." Her heart dropped slightly. "Oh," he noticed. "You want me to stay?" She quickly shook her head. "No, I just—" She stopped. He waited. "I got used to coming here." For the first time, he smiled faintly. "I did too." One of the guards stepped forward. "Chairman, rival group confirmed retaliation." Maya looked confused. "Retaliation?" Min-jae answered calmly. "They won't stop." Her expression changed. "Because of today?" "Yes," she frowned. "But I pushed you. They saw me." He nodded. "That's why you shouldn't come here anymore." Her chest tightened. "Why?" "They'll target you." She shook her head. "I'm not scared." "I am." She blinked. "You are?" "For you." Silence. She didn't expect that. Min-jae spoke quietly. I'll send you somewhere safe." "No." He paused. "You didn't let them take me. Let me protect you." She shook her head again. "I don't want protection." "Why?" "Because I didn't help you for anything." He looked at her carefully. "I know. That includes safety, money, favors. You might not have a choice." She met his eyes. "I always have a choice." That answer made him respect her even more. The rain finally stopped. Streetlights reflected on wet pavement. Min-jae's car pulled up. He looked at her. "You should go home." She nodded. "You too." He almost laughed. He hadn't heard someone speak to him like that in years. Equal, normal, human. She turned to leave, then stopped. "Wait." He looked at her. "You never told me something." "What?" "Why you sat in the rain." He paused, then answered honestly. Because power makes people fake. And rain? Rain reveals truth." She smiled softly. "Well, you got soaked for the truth." He nodded. "Yes." Then she said, "I'm glad you did," and walked away. 2 nights later, Maya left a small grocery store. The street was quiet. Too quiet. A van stopped beside her. The door slid open. 2 men grabbed her. She gasped. "Hey!" They pulled her inside. The van sped off. One of them spoke into a phone. "We got her!" Across the city. Min-jae's phone rang. He answered. "Yes." A voice said, "We have the girl." Silence. Then, "If you want her alive, come alone." The line ended. The room turned cold. Every guard froze. Min-jae stood slowly. "They took her." The atmosphere changed instantly. Not anger, not panic. Something colder, more dangerous. "Location?" he asked. "Tracking now. Chairman." Min-jae walked toward the window. Rain began again, soft, quiet. Like the night he met her, he spoke calmly. "Prepare everything." The guards nodded, because when Min-jae sounded calm, it meant someone was about to disappear. Maya was tied to a chair. Her heart raced. The men laughed. "You helped the wrong guy." She stayed silent. "You know who he is?" "Yes." That surprised them. "And you still helped him?" "Yes." One man smirked. "You must be special." She didn't answer, because she knew something. He would come. She didn't know how, but she knew. The warehouse doors opened. Min-jae walked in, alone, exactly as they demanded. The rival leader smiled. "You came." "Yes." He looked at Maya. She was unharmed. Relief flashed briefly in his eyes. The leader laughed. "You care about her?" "Yes." The room went silent. No denial. And no hesitation. Just truth. The leader smirked. "Then kneel." Min-jae didn't move. "You heard me." Silence. Then, Min-jae's men surrounded the building. Lights shut off. Chaos erupted. Within seconds, the rivals were restrained. The leader panicked. "You said alone." I came alone, Min-jae replied calmly. He walked toward Maya, untied her himself. You okay? She nodded. Yes. He turned to the leader. You touched her. The leader trembled. It was business. Min-jae's voice turned cold. No, that was a mistake. He gestured. The guards took them away. No shouting, no violence shown, just quiet justice. Outside. The rain poured again. Maya stood beside him. You came. Yes, I knew you would. He looked at her. Why? Because you sat in the rain for strangers. He smiled faintly. You weren't a stranger. She laughed softly. I was. He shook his head. No. You were the only one who saw me. They stood under the rain. No umbrella this time, just silence. Then he removed his coat, placed it on her shoulders, just like she once did. You'll get cold, he said. She smiled. You remembered? I remember everything. She looked at him. So, what now? He answered quietly. Now, I don't sit in the rain alone. She nodded. And I don't walk past anymore. The rain fell, city lights shimmered, and the most feared Korean Mafia boss walked away, beside the woman who covered him, when the world ignored him. Because sometimes, kindness doesn't just change a moment, it changes the most dangerous man in the city. And sometimes, the man, sitting helpless in the rain, is only waiting for one person to stop.